All right. Welcome back to another Mr. Robot Monday. Let's see what we got here. Let me share my screen real quick. So I went ahead and actually let me make some setting adjustments here real quick. And that should be good. That should be good. Sorry, having to do some configuration stuff here. Just want to make sure that the audio is coming through correctly. 1 second. Let me double check that. And we are good. Cool. So, don't know which one to pick. I was just looking at like random ones like that I haven't done, but I seem to have done a ton of the easy ones. Generally, don't like to do the medium ones on these. Sometimes, or medium or hard, or even the insane ones, because it takes some time. Like sometimes I can just get stuck, and it'll be like days long. But I'm just trying to pick a random one out of these. Which one looks interesting? I've already done all of those. I've already done a ton of them. Pretty soon, I'll actually have to start doing the live ones, but I'm trying to avoid that because I don't want them banning me. Because these are fun. I do enjoy these, but if I do it on the live machines that are still current, they're gonna ban me because it violates their terms of service. So let's see. Let's go to page 4. Open admin. Let's try open admin. Go ahead and spawn that machine. I went ahead and ran the open VPN, right? So we connected to the VPN, got our IP address for this. So now we just got to boot that machine. And hopefully this all work. So the background and everything that I had behind me, I finally got the downstairs all fixed. And hopefully this all works. So got a new camera and everything. Downstairs is all fixed up and everything, but it's a complete mess down here. As you can see, like this beautiful background here, all that's going to get fixed up and everything once we get this actually rolling. Got a new camera, supposed to be 4K. Haven't had much time to play with it. Literally got it yesterday and just plugged it in today. I haven't had a chance to mess around with it, so if the quality sucks, my bad. I'll get all this fixed once I learn more about it. So soon we'll be rocking and rolling with an actual studio down here. Is the ultimate goal. It's just a matter of when. My wife and I are actually taking a trip next week, so we'll be gone all next week, starting this weekend and next weekend. So won't have time to make any adjustments down here for that, but it should look good once it's all done. We got some ideas and stuff planned out, but as of right now, it's just a complete mess. Go ahead and refresh this, see if it actually spawned for us. Nope. This must be a big machine. So yeah, in the meantime, if you have any questions or anything, definitely feel free to post them in here. We'll kind of go over those if we need to. So we got that IP address. Let's go ahead and start our nmap scan and port scan. So we'll run nmap, and I'm going to scan for all ports, and hopefully it doesn't take a very long time. And we'll paste in that IP address, and I'm going to, whoops, was that the correct one? Wait, was that the correct one? Let's see, 171. No, it was not. So I actually hit up. Let's try that again. Paste that in there. There we go. Go ahead and run that port scan. Let me check out Discord. Yeah, people talking shit in Discord. Alrighty. Oh, let's see if we can ping this first. So ping. 10.10.10.171. We have 2 connections there. Maybe I need to close this one. Do I need to close that first? I don't know. Why does it say it's still connected there, though? I closed out that VPN, so... So that's our issue. We're not connecting to the host. Let's see here. May need to reboot. Let's see. It may still have the other one pulled up, so we'll need to kill that process. So I need to, what was it? VPN, open VPN? No, open VPN. Oops. Grep is what I need to do. There we go. Yeah, see, we still have 2 instances open. I'm horrible about closing those, so we'll just do sudo kill -9. And then, which one is it? I think it's all 3 right here, yeah. Let's see. We'll copy that, paste it in. No, so, oh, wait. Wrong one. Competitive, yeah. We'll kill that process and make sure it killed. Okay, perfect. So now you don't see a VPN up there or an IP address up there. So now let's go ahead and rerun our VPN client. There we go. So now we have a different IP address. We'll minimize that. Now we should be able to ping our host. And we have a ping. Good to go. All right, basic network troubleshooting, right? Cool. So now we'll run a port scan, which this shouldn't be an issue now. And we'll see what ports are open. If it doesn't take a long time. Ooh, it's taking a while. I'll let it run anyway. I highly recommend for capture the flag purposes, at least, especially if you're trying to study for like OSCP. Always check all your ports, man, because that screwed me over a couple times. Like it would have saved me hours of work or hours of at least trying had I just scanned for all of the ports to see what all was open. Because I kept running like the basic scans where it would just have the top ports, and sometimes there's just like a random port open that that's kind of your vector of attack. At least that's what happened with me with OSCP. Anyway, let's see. It's not going terribly slow, but not as fast as I would like. But it is what it is, I guess. I like to pull up my notes in here too. You always need to take notes on pretty much everything you do. Otherwise, you're just going to forget it all. Just like every stream, every video I talk about, I highly recommend Notion.so. It's a really good platform for note keeping. You can take screenshots, you can enter in code, you can do all kind of things, man. I actually used it for my OSCP cert, plus some of the other certs like the SANS courses and stuff that I did. Made a lot of notes in there, specifically for like offensive hacking. So I'll kind of share that too. You're able to add in everything the way that you want. You can make it look the way that you want. So I have it broken down by the different things, right? Like shell commands, like how to get, a better shell, more stable shell. A lot of this too, you can actually get within revshells.com if you've ever heard of that. But I have it broken down by some of the tools, different ways to do file transfers, pivoting, lateral movements, post exploitation, different operating systems and stuff. Just notes of things that I've gathered along the way. But I also had like my OSCP notes in here and like a ton of other things. Even some of the capture the flags that I've done, right? Like some of these are still live with HTB. I actually post a write up in there, and then once the time comes once the time comes that it gets retired, I'll actually post up the walkthrough on my website. But pretty cool tool to use. Highly recommend. Yeah, let's check up on this again. All right, it's about halfway done. Kind of got to make a decision here. Do I just let it ride? Actually, while it's going, I'm going to check and see if there happens to be a web server running on it. Okay, it's freaking out on me. There we go. What was that IP address? Got that. Let's paste it in there. Paste? No. Okay. Okay, so there's a web server running. It's not configured. So while this is running, how much time we got? Okay. While this is running, I'm going to go ahead and run Dirbuster in the back, and we're going to try and do some brute forcing on any, any directories. So let's open up another terminal here. We'll type in Dirbuster. And then we will need our IP address. So copy that, paste it in there. And we are on port 80, not 70, not 90. Dear God, 80. I'll do go faster. And we'll use user, share, word list, and then Dirbuster. And I'll just use the small lowercase. And we'll go ahead and run for like HTML. We'll do, just in case there's any scripts in there, sh, pl. I even do .ssh. Nah, we'll leave it. Expand this out a little bit, hit start, and we'll let that do its thing. Come back and check up on our first scan here. 2 minutes left for it. And if you don't know what Dirbuster is doing, it's using a word list to try and see what kind of directories are there. So for instance, /index.html was on that list, right? So I tried that. I got a response code of 200, meaning that this exists, which is actually probably what you're looking at right here, is this web page. Looks like we got a directory called icons that we don't have access to. We do have access to one called music, so we'll check that one out. And we have music index. So it looks like there's a whole page here, actual website here. There's another one, ONA. Curious about that ONA. So let me go ahead and pause this scan real quick just to save our resources, make sure it doesn't lag out on us. So we'll type in ONA. We'll see what that is because I'm curious. May not be anything, may just be some random thing there. Okay, so there is something there. You are not on the latest version. Your version 18.1.1. Please download the latest version. Record counts, subnets, hosts, interface, DNS domains. So we have a domain of openadmin.htb, which I probably could have guessed that just based off of the name of the hack the box here. Let's see. What else do we have? DNS domain. What is that? Okay. So opennetadmin.com/download. So I assume that's the name of this, and we have a version number here. So opennetadmin. Let's see. We'll do search exploit. I don't want to search the internet right now. Well, I mean, I guess I could. I just don't want to pull up one of the write-ups for it. I like to avoid that. That's why I like doing the live ones, is because you start Googling and stuff, you're not going to have any write-ups pop up. But with these old ones, there'll be random write-ups that pop up, and I try not to look at what's written on there because it'll have like a previewed like display of it. Whoops, hit something wrong. What did I say? OpenNet admin exploit. Okay, I don't see anything there for write-ups, so that's a good sign. So version 18.1.1. But yeah, sometimes when you Google stuff like this, like it'll pop up. I'm sure there's one down below. I'm not gonna try to look for it because I don't like to cheat at these things. It's not gonna make you any better. So we'll go ahead and see what that is because that's the same version number. All right, so it's not verified, but it is a bash script. So let me actually open up Mousepad and we'll save that as exploit. No, we already have an exploit. So we'll do x.sh. Just save it in the home directory. So it captures the URL. Let me see if they have any other exploits. So it looks like we got a Python script here for it. We'll download it and look at it. See Mr. 3 asking what room I'm doing. It is called Open Admin. It's an easy box. It's a retired machine. I can't do the live machines on the live streams like this. It violates their terms of service, so I have to do the retired ones, unfortunately. But yeah, that's the one that I'm working on right now. All right. What is it called? Oh, there we go. And let me go ahead and look at the code real quick before I run anything. All right. Yeah, we'll give it a shot. Let's see. Let's see if this works. If not, we'll just use the bash script here. So we'll do ONA-RCE PY. We'll do check and then HTTP. We'll need that IP address. Where did I put it? There it is. And then directory was ONA. Remote host is vulnerable. Perfect. So we'll go ahead and exploit and let's see if we can get something from that. Okay, so it opens up its own listener and everything from what I'm seeing. Cool. All right. Who am I? Sweet. All right, so we got somewhat of a shell here. Let me see if I can get a better shell though. I'm gonna reach out to myself. Oops. Can't type, man. So we'll just open up a simple Python server on port 8000, and I'm gonna use wget, and then we'll pull a shell executable, right? Which, let me see if I got one already set there. MSF Venom. I don't need a PHP shell. Let me pull up my notes real quick. And that's the beauty of having these things too, right? Where is... So sometimes, I mean, you just forget, right? Like it's been a while since I've used this, so it's awesome that I have it here because I know what I'm looking for. I just don't remember all the specifics that go along with it, all the parameters and whatnot, right? So definitely good to keep notes. Go ahead and paste that in there. We'll add in port 4444 because, you know, Metasploit. And then we'll use port or IP 10, 10, 16, 17. Go ahead and run that, and then we'll have shell-x86.elf that we will send over. All right, cool. x86.elf. Cool. It's there, so we'll change it to an executable, chmod plus x, and then shell-x86.elf. And then let me set up a listener real quick. And let's run the executable. Catch our shell over here. Oh, bad system. Okay. All right. Well, we'll just work with what we got then. I was just trying to strengthen this thing. It's fine. Anyway. Alrighty. So let's see what we got here. We print working directory. We are in opt. Okay. So let's go to home and see what kind of accounts we have on here. Why did it? Okay, so it won't let me leave the directory in here. What the hell? Let me try. Hmm. Odd. Very odd. So man, it's not letting me go anywhere. Let me try it on a different port. We'll figure this out. Let me pull up Rev Generator. Might just use a different reverse shell. If you haven't heard of this, revshells.com, really cool tool, really easy to use. You type in your IP address and port number, it'll pop open a command to run a listener, and then you can also pick whether you want a reverse shell, bind shell, MSF Venom, and hoax shells. So for the reverse shells, it has it in all of the different languages that you might like, everything from PowerScript to Python to Perl, all kinds of stuff there. Oh, that's funny. Oh, I didn't even see these the other day. So I was doing one of the live machines and I came across a language that I'd not heard of before, and here it is. Sure shit. So I might work on that later. That's kind of funny. All right. Let me try doing this though. Actually, I need to change the IP address to ours, which is 1617. And we'll do port 443 just to make sure that it can at least come out. Actually, speaking of, before we dive too far into it, okay, so it's still doing the nmap scan. Yeah, screw that. Let me not scan for all ports because I may be missing something here too. But I mean, we already have our access there. But okay, all right, yeah, cool. All right, so we know the port 80 is open. We also know the port 22 is open, but sometimes these things get a little finicky. I just want to try a common port. Let's see. We got some questions here. Reverse shell. Yep. So a reverse shell is essentially like a command or a script, something that's sending out to you, and you kind of catch it using what's called a listener, and that's how you get an interactive command line, so to speak. They can come in forms of like all kind of different forms, right? You can do it in all kind of different languages like Python. You can even do PHP, all kind of different ways. But yeah, essentially, it's just a way to call back to yourself from the target computer, so that you can have an interactive shell there. Titan Nick said, "Are you self-taught?" Yeah, I mean, for the most part, right? Like, I mean, I have a degree in cybersecurity, but they didn't really like teach us offensive, things. So I paid out of pocket to do the OSCP. Learned a lot from that, but way before that, I've been doing capture the flags and whatnot for a long time. So essentially, yes, self-taught, but I have learned a lot of tricks along the way from certain certs that I have as well. Highly recommend doing the self-taught way. I mean, these like boot camps and these courses and stuff that you have, they'll only get you a little bit of it. The rest of it is just from trial and error and actually going down and doing this stuff. All right, so where is all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this. This will be our reverse shell that we'll send over. Oh, got another question. What box do you recommend for beginners to try on their own? It's actually a good question. So, if you're like brand new, I would honestly recommend signing up for either a Hack the Box Academy, or if you can go to tryhackme.com. This is when I was really starting out. Like, this was probably the easiest one to do. There's a lot of concepts and stuff that they explain in an easier way to learn on Try Hack Me. But once you get a little more advanced with that, I would highly recommend jumping over to Hack the Box. Hack the Box is going to have like your more realistic stuff, but Try Hack Me gives you the overall foundation. Any advice for beginners like me? Yeah, same thing, man. I would harp over and over again that try hack me, especially for learning brand new things. It'll give you that foundation you need, but from there, definitely try to pivot over into more of hack the box. Hack the box does have its academy and whatnot that you can sign up for, but it may be a little more advanced than what you would expect a beginner to see, right? All right, so let's save this. Yep. I'm displaying exactly what I'm not even gonna try to pronounce what that is, but yeah, they said if you're a complete beginner, they would start with try hack me and use the rooms with walkthroughs until you get an idea of what you're doing. Perfectly said right there. So I'm going to save it as run.sh and we'll just go ahead and do wget again, http 10, 10, 16, 17, and that was running on port 8000, not 80,000. We'll grab run.sh and make sure it's there. It is. So we can go ahead and make that an executable. Uh-oh. It looks like my camera feed cut out. I wonder what happened there. That's weird. Really, really weird. Huh. Like I said, I just got a new camera too, man. Just got it yesterday, so I'm not fully familiar with all of it. Yeah, wow. Let me change cameras if I can. Wow, that's not good. All right, well, sorry about that. It's not like you wanted to see my ugly face anyway, but all right, let's see. Oh, they said thanks. I'll look into it. And thank you, sir. My friends are recommending those websites right now. Learning C for malware development, and right now moving on to learning Linux. That's awesome, man. Learning those compiled languages like C, like that'll definitely help you out in the long run. That's awesome. All right, let's see. And we'll go ahead and run.sh. There we go. All right, so we caught us a shell over here. Let's see if it'll. There we go. So now we can exit. I don't know what kind of restrictions they had on that shell. So what we did was I created just a simple reverse shell, little bash script, and then grabbed it from my machine, put it onto the target machine, and then ran it from there. So now we're able to actually move around in here. So now I can cd into the home directory. All right. So we have two accounts here, Jimmy and Joanna. We'll go into Jimmy first, I guess. Can't cd into them, so we don't have permissions to. So Joanna it is. Nope. Okay. All right. So let me go to the temp directory and I'm going to upload what's called linpeas, which is a really, really fascinating, awesome tool. Let's see what we got here. What tools do you use for directory busting? When I use dirbuster, it always misses some directory. It's pretty long as well. It just depends, man. Like if I'm using longer lists, I generally use like FFUF or just Derb because it can get through those lists like rather quickly. I would say real world FFUF or if you're doing like capture the flags and whatnot, I generally use Dirtbuster just for the capture the flags because I know it's not going to have one of those long lists. All right. So yeah, let me terminate this Python server here. Let me go into download so we can grab that linpeas. Make sure it's in there. linpeas.sh. Yeah. So linpeas is an awesome tool. It's made for privilege escalation. it kind of scans everything, runs a different or a bunch of commands on there, and essentially enumerates the machine for you to kind of see what avenues of approach you can take for that privilege escalation. Always worked at cybersecurity jobs. I think it's very cool. I'm a high school dropout student, trying my best to reach out to people like you, give me advice for cybersecurity. Honestly, man, like you don't even need school for cyber. Like if you learn this stuff on your own and you're able to intelligently speak on it, they're gonna hire you, man. They definitely base experience over education any day of the week. So if you're into this, I would highly suggest start doing things like opening up your own like or getting your own GitHub. Start doing projects on there that are uh, going to be useful, especially around cybersecurity. They'll take a look at that. They'll look at projects that you've done. Uh, if you're wanting to go for the certs, they do get a little bit expensive though. I wouldn't recommend paying for them. I did pay for the OSCP, but it kind of paid off in the long run of things for me. But I kind of had other things set up in the background for that. But oh man, it just depends on what your interest is, right? Like, if you're wanting to make like scanners and whatnot, if you want to make some comprehensive framework, that would be phenomenal. It really just depends on what your interest is, and what kind of languages and stuff that you want to code them in. You can look around on GitHub, get ideas from there. I mean, there's nothing wrong with going on there and seeing what other people are doing. All right. Where were we? So linpeas, let me go ahead and set up a Python server for that. And we'll go ahead and grab that as well. So we use wget http, our IP address 10.10.16.17, port 8000. Linpeas.sh, make that an executable. And let's run linpeas. I'm going to go ahead and expand this out a little bit. That way it'll run correctly. So again, what this is doing is just running a ton of commands uh, to just see what might be possible to get privilege escalation on. Really, really useful tool. Yeah, I do work for a cybersecurity company. I'm not going to say which one, but it is a pretty big one. I like to keep work and my personal hobbies and stuff kind of separate, even though it's along the same lines. But yeah, I'm working for a big cybersecurity company right now. All right, so let's go through this. So the way that whoa, I already saw it. There's something there. Maybe not. We'll go back to it. The way that this works is they even have a legend here. I don't know why it's spelled like that, but if you see red or yellow, it's 99% a privilege escalation vector. Red, you want to take a look into it, and then the rest are just kind of informational for you. So right off the bat, when you saw something yellow, like I just saw, you definitely want to take a look at it. Doesn't always mean that that's the way that you're going to get in, though. All right. And your first time using this, I mean, you're probably going to want to take your time and look through the stuff. I've been using this for quite a while now, so I know what things I can skip. Uh, Generally speaking, like I had mentioned, anything in like red or yellow that you're going to want to take a look at. But a lot of this stuff will stay the same on pretty much every scan. Really curious about this. I don't know what might be in there. Mm, might take a look at it in a second. If there's nothing else on here. There are so many directories it's dumping. Oh no, man, you're fine, dude. You're not being disrespectful at all. Not flooding or anything. No, I get it, man. Ask away. I may not be able to answer everything for you, but I'll definitely try my best, man. That's kind of why I did this, is so I can get better at explaining things, get better at talking, and then hopefully help some people along the way too. Let's see. Mm, I'm not seeing a whole lot in here. Well, hold on. No, not seeing anything crazy here. Let me go ahead and see the permissions and everything on this folder. Mm, okay, so there's nothing there. Let's go back. Was the course included in with the OSCP enough to pass the exam, or do you recommend additional sources? So funny you say that. I actually I failed it the first attempt that I had, and that was due to the my understanding of Windows privilege escalation. So I ended up finding guys. I forget what he. It, I found this guy named Tiberius on oh, what is it called? I want to call it Digital U. That's not it. One second. Let me do a Google search. Udemy. Yeah, so he has a course on Udemy. So I ended up taking that little course. It was probably, I don't know, like maybe 2 hours long. Took that course and it just kind of nailed everything on the head for me. It helped me to better understand that part of it. Some people do pass just fine with the course that they give you, because it includes all the labs and everything along with that. But if you are struggling with the privilege escalation portion, highly recommend Tiberius on Udemy. His stuff was really good. He explained it in a very very easy way. If you fail the first time, that's a sign of success. That's a quote from my friend. Yeah, your friend's like spot on, man. I learned more from that failure than I did from actually taking the course. Honestly, it kind of kicked my butt into gear. I learned from the failures from there, just bounced back from it. Had no issues the second time. The second time, I actually finished pretty early. Oh, did not mean to do that. There we go. All right. So I like to look at configurations. So we'll look in the config and then config PHP here. Sometimes in the configurations, it'll tell you about the service it's running. A lot of the times they'll have like passwords in there that we could reuse. So I always like to look at configurations of any kind of service that might be running. So we'll go ahead and take a peek here. So I'll go ahead and cat that out. And let's see if there's anything in here worthwhile. No, nothing in here. Let me go into the config then. So there's a folder in here called config, which, yeah, it is a folder. Okay. cd config, config inc.php, ldap config, huh? Take a peek in there. What am I doing? Cat. Nothing in there. That's all. Yeah, sometimes this stuff gets a little tedious, man, but once you get used to the idea of what exactly you're trying to do, it gets a lot easier. Like you build out your methodology over time, and it just becomes a lot easier. But stuff like this, I mean, sometimes the scripts don't pick it up. Sometimes you got to go in and manually do things, right? I'm actually not going to look in that one. What else do we have? Is there another? There's a local. There's a config there. Let's go to. Oh, they ran in map scans too. There's another config file, database settings. We'll cat that to. Whoops. Okay, I see a password here though. Ninja Warrior. So we can see if that works on one of our. I forget what it was. Jimmy or Joanna. So let's try to see if they use password reuse. This is why you should have different passwords on pretty much everything, right? So we'll sue Jimmy. We'll try Jimmy first. Must be. Hold on. Let me grab my notes real quick, and we'll strengthen that shell to make it better. I'll just use this one. All right. So now let me try that. Oops. Ask it for the password, Ninja Warrior, exclamation point. Oh, sweet. Okay, so that was Jimmy's password. All right, so now we got the user Jimmy. Is this CTF of... So what's the goal? This looks scary and cool. So let me actually pull up there the hack the box thing. Oh, I had it on the same tab. That's why. Okay. So the whole point of this is they boot up a machine for you to target, and the whole point of it is for you to get root or admin privileges on that box, right? So in this case, it spun up a VM that was running a web service on it. So we exploited the web service and then got a foothold. And now what we're trying to do is elevate our privileges into essentially becoming an admin on there, or on Linux machines we call it root. So we're trying to get those root privileges on that machine. Right now, we've already escalated our privileges. Right, we went from a service account and then elevated our privileges up to Jimmy. Whoever Jimmy is, we now have his password. So actually, since there's SSH open on this, we can just SSH in as Jimmy. What was the IP? And I do have some bad habits, like I'm doing right now. Generally, you want to document everything, right? So you would have the IP address already inside of your terminal and everything all set up. So don't follow me on that. Kind of develop your own processes there. Yeah, he said poor Jimmy, right? Yeah, Jimmy's gonna have to answer to somebody, especially if this were a pen test. Cool. So now we can just SSH in as Jimmy, so we have a stronger shell. So first thing I like to do, especially if I have the password, is run sudo -l to see what kind of commands we can run as root. Oh, so Jimmy can't run that. That's cool. I'm wondering if I might run linps again just as Jimmy. Might have some additional information there. Let me see. Where did I saved it in temp, right? No, I didn't. Where did I save it? I'll just save it here. That's fine. HTTP 10, 10, 16, 17, port 8000, because I still have that web server running on my side, and linps.sh. Oh, wait. Need to do wget. There we go. chmod +x linps.sh. We'll go ahead and run that. And if you're ever trying to be sneaky, this is not the way to do things. Just kind of want to throw that out there too. There are, advanced. Oh, you're right. Yeah, I did save it in the website folder. Yeah. And I thought about that after too. Once I started going ahead and doing wget. Yeah, Jimmy's going to be in a lot of trouble, man. A lot of trouble. And let's just see if anything's different in here. Actually, before I even do that, was there anything on his desktop? Let's see. Oh wait, I ran it on here. What am I doing, man? I'm so tired right now. Yeah, let's go to home. No, you didn't have anything crazy in there. Okay. Actually, let me see if I can access what's her name's thing, Joanna. Nope, still permission denied. That's completely fine. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Was there anything else that might? So we do have port 3306 running internally. So that's MySQL, which we actually have Jimmy's password for that. Might take a look in that if we can't find anything else. Awesome, man. Hey, I appreciate it, man. Have a good one. If you ever have any questions, dude, feel free to reach out, man. I'm wondering what this might be here. I wonder if that's a web server, because that's such an odd thing. Like that's not one of your normal ports open. So they may have an internal web server running that we might test out. Might pivot into that. And if that doesn't work, we can check out the MySQL database there to see if there's any other passwords. Like maybe it might have a root password in there for one of the other services it's running. Not seeing much in there. Yeah, let's try and pivot into it. So let me we have his password. Minimize some of these. Get a little organized. Don't need that anymore. I do need his password though. So let me go ahead and save that in here. So we'll do Jimmy Ninja Warrior. Cool. Just so I have it in case I close out one of those things, I need to go back to it. So let's go ahead and SSH in again, and we'll do port forwarding. Do Jimmy at keep forgetting this IP address. I just need to save it, but it's fine. 10.171. We'll do -L. We'll need that port number. (52846). 52846. And that is on the local host for him. 52846. Go ahead and hit enter. Wait, was it 170 or 171? Oh, it was 171. I accidentally fat fingered. 99% of the times when I do something wrong, it's something like that where I just miss like one digit. So now we'll enter in his password. Okay, so we should have. Oh, we got another comment. I want to be an ethical hacker sometime. Teach me. I can only teach so much, man. Mainly what you're gonna learn is actually from doing it yourself. Somebody had mentioned earlier to go on a try hack me and do everything with a walkthrough to kind of learn, your foundation, your methodology, and then just kind of advance from there. The only way you're really gonna learn and get better is actually by doing it. So recommend just jumping in, get one of those free accounts, man. Just start at it. You won't always 100% do these. Like there's a bunch of them, even easy ones that I've been stuck on, like for days, weeks at a time. You may be done in, I don't know, like half an hour. Some might take a couple weeks. Some you just might never finish. So don't get too frustrated. Don't beat yourself up. Use help whenever you can, but try to avoid using that as a crutch. Try to learn as much as you can. Google is going to be your best friend across the board for all of this. All right, so now let me open up Firefox and let's see if that was a server on there, web server. So we'll use, actually I may not need to use that. Well, there we go. So we'll do HTTP localhost. If I can type localhost, and this was port 52846. Okay, so it was a web service. So if you don't know what I just did here, I basically pivoted into the machine, right? Do I have anything to draw with? So their machine, the target machine that I'm trying to hack into or that I've already hacked into, is connected to a network, right? If you want to pivot into any other machines on that network, you would run something like this. It would be a little bit different, but you would use SSH and essentially use that local machine as your pivot machine, right? So since there's an internal service running on this port right here, I went ahead to set it up so that it would reflect this port anytime I would use localhost, right? So because I'm already in the machine, I'm able to now use my web browser to pivot into that local service. It's a little hard to explain. I wish I could like draw up a diagram real quick. I may have to like start incorporating that with some of these videos just to kind of explain. So I'll have to look at some kind of tool that might be easier to do that with. Wait. Yep. So the -L in the SSH command is essentially listen. So you're listening for everything, all of the traffic on this port from that local host. So that allows you to pivot into it. Oh boy, I'm getting a lot of comments here. Came in really late. Are you using Metasploit or what's the CTF/lab you're doing? Not using Metasploit. I try to do everything manually. So this is the box that I'm working on. It's called Open Admin on Hack the Box. Uh, it's EasyBox, Linux box, and it is one of the retired machines. I can't do the live ones on live stream because they will essentially ban me from Hack the Box. The goat. What the hell is this? Just hacking, man. That's all it is. Giving a look at the web page you were just on. So it's remote code execution. So that's essentially how we got into the first one. Now I'm just tunneling all of my traffic into the target machine to look at its internal services. So now we're able to look at whatever this is that's running internally. Yeah, it takes a long time to get really good at this. I know a few guys that like do this really well for a living, and they make a ton of money doing it. I'm nowhere near their level. I'm still learning myself in a lot of ways. But yeah, like I said, man, the easiest way to learn is by doing. So definitely just jump in there, start learning. All right. So I'm not sure what exactly this thing is. Let's see if we can do admin. See if we have some basic credentials there. No. And it's funny that this pops up. So there's a course called the people that make Burp Suite, Portswigger. I can't remember. There's Portswigger Academy, and whenever you do a lot of their stuff, their login is Peter Wiener. I find it really hilarious, but I ended up saving it there, so that's why that's popping up. Let's see. I'm not really sure what this is. It just says enter username and password, login restricted. We can try some SQL injection because I know there is a SQL database that's running. Actually, let me try running Jimmy's name and password. Tutorials point. Huh. So let's try Jimmy and his password. Let's see if that'll work. No, it doesn't. I might Google tutorials point. I don't know what that is. Tutorials point. Is that a service? This is fucking awesome. Can't believe I got recommended the stream. That's awesome, man. Well, I'm glad you're here, dude. I'm glad you're here. So till you disconnect from the SSH session with the -L option, all internal traffic on port will reflect the IP of the machine and not only the local host. Yeah. So all of the traffic on that port is essentially being tunneled to me back and forth. I think Tutorials Point is a site for learning to code things. Yeah, let me look real quick. Yeah, I think you're right. But I'm wondering why it's popping up on the. That's weird. Let me see where exactly this is saved at, right? Because there's a service running in here. Let's look at their. Let's see. So every service that's going to be running in here, they're going to have configuration files and whatnot. So I might be able to find out a little bit more about whatever this is. If we look at those configuration files, which I mentioned that previously, those are really, really, really helpful. Get some more magic. How much experience do I have in this field? Um, in the field, like cybersecurity itself, probably around maybe 6 years, 7 years. Hacking specifically, only a couple of years. I haven't been doing this very long. Uh, like I said, I'm still learning. That's one of the main reasons I started the stream anyway, is just to continue to learn, try to help out other people too. Tools being used to automate everything. It's different to see people still trying to do it manually, just give more insight. Yeah, I mean, and there are a lot of automated tools. I have like a bunch. Uh I mean, I even have Burp Suite Pro, for like a lot of the pen tests and whatnot. But a lot of the stuff I like to do manual, especially on CTFs. Like I just like to understand exactly what I'm looking for, because if you go out and start running a bunch of scripts that you don't know what they do, it's going to be bad for you, man. That's essentially how you break the law. That's how you get in a lot of trouble, especially if you're like a pen tester. You're just running blatant commands that you don't know what exactly it's going to do. You could shut down a whole organization by accident. So you definitely don't want to do that. But then whenever you do get hits for like some of these scans, you want to know exactly what you're supposed to be looking for. But have something you could potentially investigate and report to Apple if the findings are strong enough. I would say, I mean, you could report that yourself, man. If you're able to find like a zero-click vulnerability, 0 day for Apple, they're paying like $1 million. So if you found something, dude, I would highly recommend you sending that in. You might get rewarded for it, some kind of bug bounty. Is the application running on a web daemon is located in the HTML, and if so, their config file where you can get the database credit. Yeah. So that's essentially what we did earlier to get Jimmy's password. We actually looked in one of the files here. I'll kind of go back to it real quick. Oh, I can't access it now. Oh, so Jimmy doesn't have access to it. But yeah, it was in that ONA folder. And then we ended up getting his credentials from the configuration file in there. All right. So actually, let me see. Let me believe it was Apache 2 that was running. Yeah. So we got let's see, sites enabled. Let's see what sites are enabled. So there's open admin configuration. So that's the one that we initially gained our access in. So there's another one that says internal comp. So check out the configuration for that. Okay, so it's a subdomain that it's running on, right? So internal.openadmin.htb. Signed user Joanna. And this is, yeah, that is the correct port. So it's not telling me much more on it though. So we do know Joanna's running that. So I imagine Joanna has some kind of root privileges that we're going to be looking for. Kind of touched base on that already. Roughly 6 to 7 years of cybersecurity, but recently, the past few years with hacking. Can you still access the database if you still have? Yeah, and I should be able to. That was going to be the next thing to look at, but I wanted to see if there was an actual web server running on this port, which I could have just looked in. I could have just looked in here to see that there was one, but anyway, yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. If I don't find anything with this, then yeah, I'm going to go back and start looking at the database, because there is a MySQL database running. Yeah, definitely report it yourself, man. Yeah, so all of not all of these are going to have passwords in them. Not all of the configuration files are going to have it. There's a lot of other services on there that haven't been configured. So that's why a lot of them were coming back invalid or not showing like any kind of password on there. Sometimes the passwords will actually be stored in another location. All right. So I'm wondering, I'm trying to think here from the information that we have. So there is an internal web server running on this port, obviously. Uh, it's asking for a username and password, login restricted. The owner of that is going to be Joanna, which is somebody that we cannot access, but is on the home directory. Hmm. Let me see. Let's go back to this folder. So it's going to be on the internal because that's what we were looking at was the internal subdomain here. If I can spell internal correctly, that'll work. Index main.php. So that's index. No, same thing. Actually, wait a minute. We have access to this. Let me see if I can run something as Joanna since she is the owner of this. So if you notice, once we gained access to this, this OpenNet admin, we were www. I forget what it's called. Yeah, we were that service account, right? Because the service account owns this, and then we had to escalate up to Jimmy. But since Joanna, according to this, owns this service right here, we might be able to run something as her. So we'll need to see if we can pop in a PHP shell in there or something. Let me go to rev shell generator again. Yeah, so essentially I'm going to try and save a PHP file to see if we can get like a little PHP reverse shell, like a web shell, essentially, to see if we can run it as her. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to backtrack here. Which one do you prefer, red teaming or blue teaming? I prefer red teaming. Blue teaming is a lot of fun though, and they kind of go hand in hand. It's really cool to see what the blue teams are able to pick up on. Working with a lot of threat hunters and things of that sort, they're able to pick up on a lot of stuff that normally you wouldn't even really think about unless you were pretty advanced at like the red teaming portion. So it's really cool to see. I know a lot of red teamers that went over to blue teaming just because of that aspect. All right, let me see. So we'll go to our rev shell generator again here. We'll look for PHP. We just do this. That'll work. Well, no, I need it to be short. We need something short to kind of echo in there. Well, no, I can just save it in there. That's fine. Let's grab this PHP from the pen test monkey. And I will just, uh-oh. Antivirus is picking it up. Let me turn, well, no. I may just have to get it from another site. Pen test monkey. There we go. So we'll just copy this and save it. And then we'll download it to the target machine as Jimmy. So we need to change our IP address in there. And so what this is a reverse shell for PHP. So we'll save 10, 10, 16, 17. And we'll do port 4444. Save that as, we'll do monkey.php, just so we know what it is. I believe I have yeah, I do. I need to switch directories there. Have a Python server running, so run that on 8000. And let's see if we can save it in here. So we'll do wget http 10, 10, 16, 17, which is our IP address, port 8000, and we'll do monkey.php. Make sure it's in there, make that executable. Cool. Now let's see, what port did I have? 4444. I'll just open up a new one. That's fine. So now we have netcat nvlp 4444. We have our listener set up. So in theory, we should be able to go to that page at monkey.php. And it gave us a reverse shell. Who am I? Which it already says right there. All right, so now we're in as Joanna. So now let's see what Joanna can run as sudo. Not permitted. Let me strengthen this shell real quick. That was beautiful. Let's see some of these comments real quick. Repost it myself. I'm not skilled enough to. Might look daunting at first, but like hacking, just do it. All right. What was I doing? I was grabbing where are my notes at? I have too many damn windows open. Don't need that. Don't need that. There we go. I'll take that though. Nope, still permission denied. All right, so we'll see if Joanna has anything on her desktop. Joanna. Well, we got the user.txt, so we'll go ahead and cat that out. Let me copy that. We'll paste that into our hack the box here. Submit that flag. Cool. So we got the user flag. That one was a little difficult. I'm not going to lie. I'd say medium for that one. That was definitely not easy because we had to go through 3 accounts, right? We got our initial foothold. Had to escalate up to Jimmy by finding the password in that database configuration. And then managed to find this service running on the internal port that was owned by Joanna. So we ran the pentest monkey PHP reverse shell in there, which that worked. But yeah, that wasn't the easiest one I've ever done. That was actually kind of difficult there. So I'll rate that as that. But submit rating. There we go. All right. So now I don't think I was able to run anything on there. Operation not permitted. I might try to strengthen that a little bit. Maybe not. I'm trying to think. So it logged whenever I tried to type in my password. for Jimmy. Hmm. Okay, so it looks like we have an SSH key there. Let's go ahead and copy that. See if we can't SSH in as Joanna. So we'll just use nano ID. Or actually, I'll just do it in here. Replace that. That's fine. SSH-I, IDRSA. Her name was Joanna. And then, what was this IP again? 10.10.10.171, right? If I'm not mistaken. Fuck, there's a passphrase associated. Okay. I just thought I'd try that. Might strengthen it a little bit more. I'm wondering, might have to brute force. Oh, we got some more. Maybe try to see the command history of Joanna. Generally speaking, on these, they delete them all, but yeah, we can. Yeah, so it's just everything that I have that I've done, and I'll show you why. So we'll go to her home directory, Joanna. So as you can see here, bash history gets put into dev null, so everything gets erased like every time you log in. So if that's showing up there, it's not going to have anything within that bash history, but definitely a good thing to look for though. What job do you have? So I work for a cybersecurity company. I'm not going to say which one. I like to keep that separate from my hobbies, which this is essentially a hobby. But yeah, I'm definitely in the cybersecurity career field. Password is always password or admin, dude. So many times, even in real world, like I've seen it just be password or password one. It's kind of crazy. Um, yeah, I might. I'm trying to think because we have. All right, so we have access to her now, which she owns that internal service. We're not able to run sudo under her. We do have her RSA key though. I'm wondering if let me see if I can crack that password for the RSA key. Mm, I'm gonna have to do some Googling here because it's been a minute since I've cracked one of those. So let me look up ID RSA key John the Ripper. Let me just see what we got here. It's been a while, and that's why it's a good thing to do these too, man. Like if you don't do these every single day, you're gonna kind of forget a lot of the stuff. Yep, John the Ripper. That, but yep, and that's exactly what I'm about to do too, man. You called it. Alex definitely called it. What did you go to school for? Was it cybersecurity? Did you stumble into the field? Yeah. So I was actually doing physical security in the Air Force for about I don't know, close to 11 years. But during that time, I ended up putting myself through school at the same time. Went and got my degree in cybersecurity. Got a ton of certs, but they were all paid for with the exception of OSCP, which I paid for out of pocket. But yeah, always been interested in this stuff. It's really cool, especially when you get to see it real world. But yeah, man, that's kind of how I fell into it. Yeah, I would use Vim, but I can't ever exit out of the damn thing, man. I'm kidding, by the way. That's like an ongoing joke with everyone. Yeah, already called that. Last company I worked at used password one for everything. Oh, dude, that's horrible. That is horrible practice. Can't you just look at a users folder to see all users available to try and see who could have? Yes, and that was already included within the scans that I ran. Actually, let me scroll back up and show you. I had used LinP, so it kind of automatically took care of that part already, which I believe I looked over. But yeah, there is a sudoers file that'll tell you that. I don't remember where in here that was showing it, but yeah, there is Etsy. I may not have permissions to it. Yeah, permission denied. So she's not even able to look at that folder. Oh, fellow airman. Yeah, man, I was security forces. Security forces, yeah. Got to do some really cool stuff. Deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan. Got to do outside the wire missions and stuff over there. Really hated it once I had to go to a regular base and do base security and law enforcement. Was not the highlight of my career when I'm having to write tickets that I don't want to write in the first place. It was a nightmare, man. So that's one of the reasons why I pushed myself through school. Yeah, same. Like I've taken a lot of like Python classes and stuff. Like I'm fairly good with Python, but when you get me into like compiling uh like C sharp stuff like that, like I brain dump everything, man. Like I'll learn something and then I just totally forget it the next day. All right, where were we at? We were gonna crack this password. So I need to put it in a format that John the Ripper can understand. SSH to John. Yeah, so it's SSH to John. Okay. I couldn't remember the format for that thing. So let me see. We'll run SSH to John and then ID RSA. So we'll take that. Actually, let me just output it into hash.txt, if I can spell txt. So cool. So we got it there. So now I'll need to where is it? Oh wait, I don't need anything. So we'll do John word list. So we'll run rocku.txt, hash.txt, and we'll see if we're able to break that code. Blood ninjas? Blood ninjas, that's a hell of a password. Well, it worked. So let's see. Oh wait, it wasn't in this terminal. And that's another thing too, man. They have like different terminals and stuff that you can use. I'm just kind of being sloppy with it right now. I'm so unorganized. Generally speaking, I wouldn't be this disorganized, especially if I was taking notes on all of this. So highly recommend being organized with all of this. So don't copy me. All right, let's see if we can SSH in as her. We'll use the password Blood Ninjas. Cool. So now let's see if we can run sudo, which we can. So no password for these two directories, bin nano op priv. So let's see what's in there. Oh, it's not a. Oh, so that's just a thing. Oh, okay, my bad. That's an actual file. Okay, that's great. What was it? And the other one was. So priv is owned by root. I'm not sure what it does. So there is a website that I'm going to look at too, since I couldn't figure that out. It's called GTFO bins. They have a Windows version too that's called LOL bins, living off the land bins, and or binaries, if you want to call them that. Really great privilege escalation tool for some things kind of like this, right? So we have in the bin folder, the binary folder, we have nano, which, as somebody called me out earlier for using nano, they have it on this machine. Wait a minute, what? I was recommended this because, yeah, man. So Jelly Roll has been my favorite rapper ever since like 2004, 2005, when I first saw him on that Haystack DVD, right? Been following him ever since, got every single one of his albums. Then all of a sudden, he became mainstream as country. I still follow him now, like I still respect the hustle and everything, but always been, one of my favorite rappers, man. That's funny that you got put here because of that. That is hilarious. But yeah, I kind of went from a little bit of a rough upbringing, and kind of turned shit around. Finally went to school and everything. I mean, the military kind of saved me from all of that. But that's it's why I have Jelly Roll on my page and everything from that. Yeah, "Save Me" was a good song, man. I mean, he's got a lot of hits that were like way before that, man. If you want to dive back that far, check out the Therapeutic Music. Some of that stuff was really, really good. That's funny, man. I mean, dude, I quit smoking. Like, I'm addicted to like energy drinks now, but I quit smoking a long time ago. Smoked for quite a while, but finally quit all of that. How was it when you were with CGI? What is CGI? I'm not entirely sure what you mean with that. Yeah, man, definitely check it out, dude. I can send you some links and stuff too. All right. So let's go back to the GTFO bins. We'll check out Nano. So it does have some stuff for Nano here. Yeah, and that's what it took for me too, man. Like I said, like I was in the Air Force for a while. Went to Korea, and that's when I was able to quit smoking because not many people smoked over there. So it was definitely helpful. Not everybody has that opportunity to get away from their environment like that, though. Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for being here too. Thank all of you guys. This is freaking awesome. If you have any questions on any of this stuff, man, just definitely feel free to reach out. Hit up the website too. I'm glad you guys are enjoying, and I apologize for the camera issue I'm having. I'm not sure what happened with that. I'll have to look at that later. It's a brand new camera. Just bought it yesterday. I haven't had much time to play with it, so I'm not sure what happened there. But I don't want to spend the next few hours just trying to fix a damn camera. All right, so we do have Nano in here, so they have some scripts that we can run, since we can run as sudo. So it looks like, so if the binary is allowed to run as a super user, it does not drop the elevated privileges, may be used to access the file system, escalate, or maintain privileged access. So let's run this little script here and see if we can't get roots. What was her password again? Where did that fucking thing go? This is what I'm talking about, man. Don't be disorganized like me. Was it Blood Ninja? Did I seriously close that thing? Do I have to recrack it? So disorganized. I apologize. Nope, that was his. Yeah, maybe I did close it. There we go. Yeah, it was Blood Ninjas. Okay. What was that? Not? Oh. I'm trying to think because I had to use that password. Isn't her password? That password was the for the RSA key, the SSH key. So that's not going to be her password. However, there shouldn't be a password though because I'm wondering because this is an empty file. I'm wondering if we can change something in there to get it run. Let me try it. Sudo bin /nano. Hit Control R. Command to execute. Let's try ID. Okay. So it is running as root. So where is the GTFO bin? So we had there. So yeah, R and X, and then so we'll need to type this in, and it should exit out of Nano for us. So Control R, Control X, and let's try running that command. Oh, it looks like we got it. So who am I? So it automatically closed out. So now we got root. So we just rooted it. So we'll go to cd/root cat root.txt, grab that flag. There it is. Paste that bad boy in there. Submit. Easy box, open admin. That part wasn't terrible. That was a little bit more difficult than what I'd liked. I wasn't trying to spend that much time on this today, but it is what it is. Yeah, so once we got the sudo command that we could run for her, this is all we needed to run, right? We need to run sudo nano and then hit Control R, hit Control X, and then type in this command right here to essentially get root. So this is one of those living off the land binaries that we were able to run as sudo. Let me catch up on some of these. Pass for the SSH key might not be the pass for sudo. Yeah, exactly it, man. That's I don't know what I was thinking at first when I was trying to use that. I was like, wait a minute, that's not even her password, right? But yeah, great point there. Do you go live on Mondays only? Yeah, unfortunately, I do. I won't be on next week. My wife and I are actually taking a trip out of town, so I won't be available then. But yeah, essentially every Monday, call it Mr. Robot Mondays. Usually starts at 5 p.m. Eastern. Uh, or you can catch them either on my YouTube, my website after they're recorded. I always upload them to there too. Yeah, man, I appreciate you hanging out, being interactive here. That was awesome. No, it's definitely live, man. It is definitely live. Yeah, I appreciate that. Oh yeah, he said, "Oh wait, it is." Yeah. It's all good, man. My wife definitely has the same. I'm just glad you're here, dude. This has been awesome. You guys have been great. Make Savage Hack a clickable link. So it depends on where you guys are actually tuning in at. So I'm actually streaming across multiple platforms right now, so I'm not sure which one all of you guys are, actually on. So which on desktop it's just the TXT. Oh, yeah, you're talking about the image up there. Yeah, I have to figure out if I can do that. I'm not sure if I'm able to on this. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm able to, man. It's just an overlay, so it's just a picture there. Awesome, man. Hey, I appreciate you guys. You talking in the bio? Okay, yeah. I'll get that updated, man. I appreciate that. That's good feedback there. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Alrighty, like I said, guys, I won't be back next week, but it'll be the week after. So definitely subscribe. Reach out on any of the platforms if you have any questions or anything, or just want to uh, learn a little bit more. Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. All right. Well, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Hopefully, you'll be back. Have a good one.